Hello, you're welcome to the newspaper review here on TAF TV. Like you know, as we do it here in our newspaper review, we give Nigerians the opportunities to air out their views in regards to the headlines that are making rounds on our newspaper. My name is Lele Okeme and I'll be your host for today. Now, before we hit to the street of Port Harcourt, before we give Nigerians the opportunities to air out their views in regards to the headlines, let's move straight to what our headline has for us today. Alright, today being 31st May 2024, on our Vanguard newspaper, on the front page, page 12, it says, Biafran Day, 3 soldiers killed as sit-at-home turns bloody in Southeast. You can read that up on page 12. Now, sub-story under that reads, local government attorney, state court gives governments 7 days to respond to federal government suit. Details of that is found on page 9. And still on the Vanguard, we're seeing Edo Guba, we will conduct credible poll dispute distribution of infrastructure, says INEC. Details of that is found on page 7. Rivers, court stops Amewele 24 orders from parading as speaker and lawmaker. Details of that is found on page 12. And still on the Vanguard newspaper on page 12, we are seeing Obasanjo orders extol virtues of Asaba. Details of that is found on page 12. Minimum wage, Labour may begin nationwide strike on Monday if. Details of that is found on page 5. That is just as we have been expecting for the past 1 month now for Labour to hit their strike. So it is presuming that Labour will soon go on strike. You can read that up on page 5 on the Vanguard newspaper. Court dismisses 1,403 billion naira oil spill suit against Mobile. Details of that is found on page 12. We have constructed over 5,000 roads, 42 bridges across Niger Delta, says NDDC. Details of that is found on page 12. Alright, now lastly on the Vanguard newspaper, we're seeing federal government secures $5 million World Bank loan to fund DS schools. You can read that up on page 20.
For anybody who gets chest pain, heart problem, try.
Down on the Punch, we're seeing on the front page of the Punch, it says Ipob, sit at home. Governors react as 2 soldiers killed. Businesses grounded. Now this is still in regards to the Biafran Day that was declared and the sit at home that ended the lives of 2 soldiers. You can read that up on the Punch newspaper on page 13. And still on the Punch, we're seeing Tinubu moves new executive orders on tax, fiscal reform. Details of that is found on page 19. Emirates Tozo, Kanu government meets Ribudu, Sanusi marks first appointment. Details of that is found on page 12. Trump guilty in hash money trials, faces sentencing July. Details of that is found on page 18 of the Punch newspaper. EFCC invites Kwanuso over alleged 2.5 billion naira Kanu pension fraud. Details of that is found still on page 18. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, we're seeing on page 17, it says, Bayelsa youth protesting blackout, occupy Shields facility. Bayelsa youth protesting blackout, occupy Shell's facility. Details of that, you can read that up on page 7. And on the Nation's newspaper today, we're seeing on the front page, which is page 2, it says, Council attorney battle range at State Court. Details of that is found on page 2. 30,000 successful applicants in for student loan. Details of that is found on page 5. Sit at home order, street reset economic activities. Crippled. Details of that is found on page 8. And still on the Nations on page 6, we're seeing court bars and Newele laid house from sitting in rivers. Details of that is found on page 6. court to sentence Donald Trump for folly, July 11th. This was that is found on page 2. Alright, that is all we have in regards to what is making rounds on our newspaper. Now let's get to the Strait of Port Harcourt and get the reactions of Nigeria in regards to these headlines that are making rounds on our newspaper. Do well to stay tuned. Alright, good morning, sir. It feels good to have you here.
Thank you.
Alright, now I also like your thoughts on the Vanguard newspaper. On page 5, it says minimum wage. Labour may begin nationwide strike on Monday if, emphatically if. Now, do you think it is okay to always embark on strike? Let's just pick it from that angle first. Is it okay to always resolve the strike in Nigeria? Because it has become a usual thing in this country that for your voice to be heard, you must go on strike.
Well, we have seen a lot of strike, and during our school days, we have seen strike that it's not actually very positive to always go on strike, because most of the times it doesn't bring out positive results. We can see a lot of strike, and at the end of the day, there is no positive conclusion. We have gone to strike for 4 months, 9 months, more than a year. But what was the result? Yes, the federal government said they were only going to pay people that are working. No work, no pay. At the end of the day, they compensate them just 4 months. So going on this strike now, how are they sure? How are they sure that you yield any better good results?
Now, on the part of the government now, do you think they should always yield to what our Nigerian Labour Congress are always demanding? Because the reason for this strike is for increment of their minimum wage. Did you think that instead of always allowing our workforce to go on strike before they have to say something, don't you think it is okay that the federal government should always do something ahead of time?
Well, we have known Nigeria. We were born here. We have known this country that the government has never done anything at the right time. This government always waits for persuasion. They always want people to persuade them before they do things. Things they know that it will help the masses. Things they know that it will help the citizens, but they want persuasion from the citizens before they do certain things, which is not actually proper. Things that you know you're supposed to do, you're supposed to do it at the right time, not waiting for someone to come and persuade you to do something before you do it. Even as a parent, if you allow your child to stop you from beating him, you will know that there will be no respect between you and that child. You understand? So it is better for the federal government to do things ahead of time instead of allowing the citizens to persuade them before they do things. It's not right.
It looks as if it's just strike that we used to persuade government.
It's only strike. It's only strike. Neither strike or protest. And there is no protest in Nigeria that have yield any results. It's neither the killing or they end up burning shops and youth sees that opportunity as the right time for them to steal people that own shops. So all these protests, the masses that go embark on this protest or this strike still suffers in the country.
You just spoke about killing. And it rang on my you just spoke about killing, and what we were having on the Vanguard newspaper is that it says 3 soldiers killed at sit at home. Now I also like your thoughts on this particular. Now this is in regards to the Biafran Day that was declared the sit at home, and at the end of the day we recorded that 3 soldiers were killed, like unarmed. They were not ready for it. Did you think it is okay to keep exposing our armed forces to a lot of killings?
You know, the work of soldiers is to protect the country at large. But we have seen it that the soldiers are not doing the work of the police, staying inside town and staying at checkpoints, which is not supposed to be like that. Nigerians are supposed to be Nigerian army, neither supposed to be in the barrack or at the forefront, protecting the country, or at the border or anywhere, not in the town, in the metropolis.
At this point, are you putting blame on our soldiers now?
I'm putting blame on the government, because if it's not the government, they will not be here. The government put them there. I'm putting blame on the government. The government allowed this to happen. you can see many times. In fact, our whole paramilitary and soldier of a thing, the whole work is mixed up. You see a police doing the work of road safety and PIO. Some of the paramilitary, I don't actually know their work. You see a road safety doing work of police and PIO. You see police doing work of police. The thing is just confusing. You don't actually understand. So I don't see reason why soldiers will be inside town. What are they actually doing inside the town? And unarmed for that matter. You understand? As a soldier, you are always supposed to be with your weapon to protect yourself. At any given time, you're not supposed to be fine unarmed. You should be prepared at all time because you can be called anytime, anywhere. That's why you're a soldier.
So lastly now, I want you to give your own opinion in regards to 1 year in office of our dearest president. What can you say for the space of 1 year? Having been in Nigeria and have survived this tenure for 1 year, I'm sure you have 1 or 2 words to say to Mr. President.
Well, our dearest president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, I don't know if to say this regime is better than Buhari or Buhari regime is better, but I would still prefer to be in Buhari regime.
We miss Buhari.
We miss Buhari. In fact, we miss Buhari. Instead of Tinubu regime, let Buhari come back, please, because things have become very, very, very difficult. I've not seen actually anything the government have done. Instead, they are just bringing tax for this, tax for that. They only want money from the masses, we that are suffering to survive, striving to survive. Just imagine you earning 30,000 naira in this country today. How are you going to survive the month with 30,000 naira? Because even I'm single, but 10,000 naira does not take me 1 week. So just imagine someone with family. You are even taking it too far. 2 children with a wife, and you are earning 50,000 naira. How do you survive? So I don't see anything positive about Tinubu, but they are still giving us hope that it will be better the next 3 years. So let's see, because we have no option than to endure. They say if you cannot enjoy it, you enjoy it. So we are enduring it. We are enduring it. So let's see how the next 3 years will become.
Good morning, sir. I also like your thoughts on the Vanguard that says 3 soldiers killed at sit-at-home turned bloody in East West. Now, 3 soldiers were killed in Abia State due to Biafran Day. Do you think it is okay to, because of late we've been hearing the killing of soldiers? Is it okay that we keep hearing things like this?
No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Like what is happening in Nigeria now, I don't really like it. Okay? It's very painful. But Tinubu himself, the man has suffered us a lot. Okay? He has suffered us a lot.
For the past 1 year?
For the past 1 year. For the past 1 year. And as it is now.
Okay, now for the space of 1 year, do you think there has been a major achievement for this government?
Nothing. They are not achieve anything. Because all you are doing everybody.
What's your advice for a common man on the street? Should we keep hustling, or should we hope for a better government?
We should keep hustling and be waiting for a better government.
Alright, this is where we come to the end of our newspaper review here on TAF TV. You have been opportunity to hear what Nigerians got to say, especially the 3 soldiers that were killed in Abia State in regards to the sit-at-home as ordered by our Biafran brothers. Now you also can be part of this show. Do well to follow us up on all our social media handles, and if you're yet to subscribe, I don't know what you're waiting for. Please subscribe so that you'll be updated each time we bring you trending headlines just like what we have shared with you today. My name is Okeme and I have been your host for today. Do well to take care of yourself.